"Son, take a breath and relax," I whispered. 3 years ago, the accident stole my legs, my independence, and nearly extinguished my will to live, yet it bestowed upon me him in a manner I had never anticipated. To begin, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to my remarkable subscribers. Your support enables me to weave narratives that explore the intricate and untamed facets of existence. This situation is rather intricate. Stay close to me. The physicians remarked that I was fortunate. Fortune smiled upon me as the semi-truck narrowly missed delivering a crushing blow. Fortunate that my spine remained intact. Fortunate it was that my son Jace was not in the car with me that night. Fortunate, they remarked. A humorous term for a woman who struggles to take more than 10 steps without her legs protesting loudly. Our quaint Ohio home once seemed overwhelmingly spacious during Jace's school hours. At this moment, it seems rather confined. He seems to be omnipresent. Preparing meals while rearranging my pillows, helping me into the shower when my strength wanes. My son. My dear companion. That's the reality no one prepares you for when you become a parent at 16. Eventually, they reach adulthood. Truly elevated. At 19, Jace stands not only tall but also impressively broad. His hands bear the marks of labor, roughened by the demands of construction work. His voice resonates with a rich depth. And those eyes of his, oh, those eyes of his. Just as his father's did. The one who abandoned me the moment the pregnancy test revealed its truth. Mother. I leap. Jace lingers in the doorway, cradling a bowl of steaming soup. You skipped lunch. Hunger eluded me. You are never truly present. He places the bowl on my nightstand, a frown etched across his face. Did your legs ache today? I remain silent. He is aware. He possesses an uncanny awareness. He takes a seat on the edge of my bed, uninvited, and begins to roll up my sweatpants. My breath catches in my throat. The scars are a testament to a tumultuous journey, marked by twisted skin and jagged lines etched from the surgeries. Jace's fingers linger in the air. May I? I incline my head in acknowledgement. The initial contact is precise, working the taut muscles encircling my knee. Yet, his thumb discovers a knot close to my inner thigh, and I press my lips together, a subtle gesture of restraint. You're tense, he whispers softly. You're completely unaware. His hands ascend, reaching for new heights. Just the right amount to stir my pulse, not crossing the line into impropriety. It's merely the warmth of his skin, I remind myself, the sweet release as the pain dissipates. Yet, as his fingertips graze the hem of my shorts, my breath catches in my throat. Jace halts as well. For a single heartbeat, neither of us stirs. He clears his throat, a subtle gesture, and gently tugs at my pant leg, pulling it down. Improved? Negative, indeed. Thank you, darling. He pauses, as if there is more he longs to express. Instead, he picks up the soup bowl and departs. I gaze at the ceiling, replaying those fleeting moments when his touch nearly ventured beyond its bounds. For the first time in years, I experience a sensation that transcends mere pain, a perilous situation. The second time his fingers brushed against my skin, I realized it transcended the mere physicality of my legs. The morning light poured through the curtains, too bright and too cheerful, contrasting sharply with the tempest brewing within my mind. Sleep had eluded me. With each gentle flutter of my eyelids, Jace's hands enveloped me, warm and calloused, their presence lingering in the air. I reassured myself that it was inconsequential, a son offering his assistance to his mother. A guardian soothing suffering. Yet, the sensation of my skin igniting beneath his caress? That was not pain. The soft creak of Jace's door down the hall jolted me back to the present moment. I swiftly arranged the blanket across my lap. It felt as though he could perceive the whirlwind of thoughts swirling within me, echoes of footsteps. Then his silhouette loomed in my entrance. "You're up early," he remarked, his voice gravelly with the remnants of slumber. He stood bare-chested, sweatpants hanging low on his hips. A tattoo wound its way across his ribs. It was something he had acquired the previous year without consulting me. I wrenched my gaze from the scene. Rest eluded me. Once more, the legs? Negative. Thou. I inclined my head in agreement. Jace let out a soft sigh as he entered, taking a seat beside me just as he had done the previous night. He lifted the blanket without a word, his hands resting on my bare calf. I recoiled. "Apologies," he murmured, chilled fingers. Yet, it was not the heat that tightened the knots within me. His fingers pressed into my skin with a slow, deliberate intensity, as if he were committing the contours of my being to memory. "You're tight everywhere," he murmured softly. I took a deep breath. Last night, I could feign that it was merely an accident. Yet now, under the bright light of day, it was impossible to ignore the way his thumb traced upward. How his hand glided along the curve of my thigh. "Jace, take a breath and unwind." His voice resonated with an unusual depth. "You're resisting it." I was not resisting the massage. I struggled against it, the way my body responded to him. The moment my breath caught as his fingertips brushed against the hem of my shorts. The moment my stomach clenched as I noticed his gaze upon me. Not in the way a son gazes upon his mother. A man gazes upon a woman. A sudden knock at the front door disrupted the tranquility of the moment. Jace recoiled. "Are you anticipating a visitor?" Negative. He stood tall, his muscles rippling as he reached out in a graceful stretch. "I shall take care of it." I released a breath, trembling. The sensation lingered on my skin, a reminder of his touch that sent shivers through me. Echoes of conversation drifted from the living room. Mrs. Calloway, our inquisitive neighbor, inquired if we required anything from the store. Jace's courteous decline. The door shut quietly. Upon his return, his expression remained a mystery. "Do you think she has any suspicions?" he inquired. My heart came to a sudden halt. "What is it that you suspect?" He wore a sly grin. "That we have yet to reimburse her for the casserole dish she graciously provided last month." I managed a laugh, though my hands shook, as for a fleeting moment, I believed he was referring to us. On that night, the rain pounded relentlessly against the windows. The tempest extinguished the light, enveloping the home in a shroud of shadow. Jace ignited the candles, their dancing light casting shadows that played across his features. He settled next to me on the couch, so near that I could sense the warmth emanating from him. "Are you feeling chilly?" he inquired. "Absolutely not." Deceiver. He gently spread a blanket over us regardless. Our legs grazed against each other beneath it. Neither of us made a move to depart. The wind wailed in the darkness beyond. A tree branch clawed at the roof, reminiscent of fingernails on a chalkboard. In that moment, his hand brushed against mine. It was no mere coincidence. Far from a mere brush. His fingers intertwined with mine, calloused yet confident. I ought to have distanced myself. I did not. In the flickering candlelight, his eyes appeared as deep as night. A cautionary note. A query. A heartfelt request. With a sudden hum, the electricity surged back to life, illuminating the room in a brilliant glow. We recoiled as if scorched by an unseen flame. Yet, what of the current that flows between us? That has not vanished. A single kiss. That was the final straw that shattered us. And transformed us into something we were never meant to become. The blackout transformed everything. For 3 days following that night on the couch, Jace and I navigated our surroundings like two unfamiliar souls. Courteous. Proceed with caution. Starving. His gaze lingered on my lips as I spoke. His hands hesitated as he assisted me to my feet. In a fleeting moment, I spun around abruptly, only to discover him breathing in the fragrance of my hair that lingered where it had grazed his shoulder. We were an ignited spark, and then came the explosion. It occurred on a Tuesday. Jace had just returned home from work, carrying the scent of sweat and the warmth of summer in the air. He discarded his boots, the fabric of his white t-shirt clinging to his chest, dampened by the sweat that had soaked through. "Are you all right?" he inquired, acknowledging my rigid stance on the couch with a nod. "Merely aching," I summoned a smile. The day stretched on endlessly. Silently, he approached and gently placed my legs across his lap. My breath hitched as his fingers pressed into my calf. "You toiled excessively," he murmured. Proclaims the young man who single-handedly reconstructed our porch ramp when the insurance company turned its back on us. The man who lifted me up each night, transporting me to my sanctuary on the second floor. His thumb dug into a knot close to my knee, and I stifled a moan. "I go away." His voice carried a rugged quality. "Allow me the privilege of looking after you." Yet, this was not care. This was desired. I noticed it in the way his jaw clenched as my skirt inched higher, sensed the quiver in his fingertips as they ascended with purpose. As his hand brushed against my thigh, I seized his wrist with a firm grip. We stood still, caught in the moment. His pulse throbbed beneath my fingertips. Subsequently, "Please, urge me to cease." A formidable challenge. A heartfelt appeal. I ought to have spoken up. I should have pushed him aside, reached out to a therapist, and acted as if this moment had never occurred. Yet, I refrained. I was unable to. I released my grip on his wrist. His kiss lacked tenderness. It was a blaze of passion and the sharpness of desire, a culmination of 19 years of unquenched yearning. His hands clenched in my hair, pulling me closer to him. Our lips collided as if this was the sole method we understood for drawing in air. I pressed into him, my fingers sinking into his shoulders. "It is not possible. We are already here." He grazed my lower lip with his teeth, sending a jolt of electricity coursing through me. "Do you sense that? We are that." And, by all that is holy, I truly felt it. The firm pressure of his body against my hip. My body arched toward him, reminiscent of a flower reaching for the sun. This was incorrect. Utterly misguided. Yet, as his tongue brushed against mine, my thoughts were consumed by a singular desire: more. We never quite reached the bedroom. Jace pressed me against the couch, his hips moving with a fervor as I grasped at his shirt, desperate and eager. The collar ripped, yet neither of us seemed to mind. "Gaze upon me," he snarled. The moment I acted upon what I witnessed, it left me utterly broken. There was something deeper than mere desire reflected in his gaze. It was love, pure and undeniable. The sort that shatters bones, the sort that etches its mark deep within. In the aftermath, as we lay entwined in quietude, the weight of reality began to seep in. Jace's fingers danced in languid circles on my exposed shoulder. "Are you all right?" Negative. Indeed. He was aware of my deception. Just as I had anticipated, he felt no remorse. When he finally broke the silence, his voice was so soft that I nearly overlooked it. "I have desired you since the age of 15. My stomach plummeted. This signified that it was no mere accident. It was bound to happen. Certain silences resonate more profoundly than spoken language. The morning arrived, piercing and vivid. I rose before Jace did. The burden of our actions bore down on me, tangible and heavy. The sheets retained his scent. There was an essence of sweat and sawdust, intertwined with an unmistakably masculine presence. My child. My beloved. What have we done, oh God? He discovered me in the kitchen, lost in thought as I gazed at the coffee maker. "Greetings," he murmured, his voice thick with the remnants of sleep. I found it impossible to meet his gaze. It was unbearable to witness the softness reflected in his gaze. The softness that was never meant to exist. Mother, a gentle touch upon my shoulder. Cozy. Recognizable. Incorrect. I recoiled. The pain that momentarily crossed his features pierced more profoundly than the sharpest blade. We drifted through the day, circling one another like celestial bodies in a vast expanse. Him. His fingers grazed mine each time he handed me something, a subtle attempt to capture my attention. With each silent thank you, walls began to crumble and fade. Kindly hand me the salt, if you would be so gracious. By dinner, the atmosphere was so charged it felt as if one could suffocate in it. It feels as though I am being subjected to punishment. He finally spoke, pushing his plate away. I am safeguarding our well-being. From where? From this point onward. My voice cracked. From the glances we would receive if they were aware. From the shame that will consume us if we allow this to persist. His jaw clenched with tension. I hold no shame. You shall be. That evening, I could hear him walking back and forth in his chamber. The floorboards groaned beneath his weight. Every footfall reverberates softly against the fragile barriers. And then, there was silence. The door clicked open with a soft, decisive sound. The soft glow of moonlight cascaded over the bed, illuminating his bare torso as he lingered in the shadows. His chest heaved with rapid breaths. I cannot feign. He uttered in a raspy voice. Not alongside you. My determination shattered. For the same reason, I found myself unable to do so as well. Silence enveloped us as he made his way across the room. There was no necessity for that. Each caress, each fleeting gaze, each ragged breath conveyed what words failed to express. This marked our downfall. We plunged in with abandon. A year has passed. The neighbors continue to discuss the bond we share. What a devoted son, Mrs. Calloway remarks at the grocery store. Consistently showing remarkable devotion to his mother. I offer a polite smile, subtly shifting the new wedding band on my left hand. The one that goes unchallenged, for single mothers rarely find their way back to the altar, do they? As we stroll toward the car, Jace's fingers intertwine with mine, creating a moment of connection that feels both tender and electric. No one gives it a second glance, no one has the answer. And that is precisely how we prefer it. And so, the story unfolds further.